Lou Fisher. Lou Fisher, are you out there?
That was really, really out there. Way back.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Happy New Year. A new year full of challenges and opportunities, and I'd like to wish all of you a healthy, successful new year. Commissioner Chapman, looking back on 2017, I'd like to thank you for your help with getting the gravel pit mess under control, and also for your help on the trash collection issues. We don't always agree, but I thank you wholeheartedly for your help on both of those issues. And Chairman Heil and Vice Chairman Eichwald, congratulations. Your colleagues have placed their confidence and trust in you, and I'm not at all surprised because so have I. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of quick requests. I respectfully request tonight, it seems like it's fixed, but and I just thought I heard a pop just now, but please see if you can get someone to look at this PA system so it will no longer snap, crackle, and pop like Rice Krispies out here in the audience. And then also, so we can get off to a good start, I also recommend that you and possibly Commissioner Block, who is well-versed on job descriptions, have a private personnel meeting with the P&Z director and review his job description, roles, responsibilities, and accountabilities with him. I've observed this individual's behavior toward the P&Z commissioners at their meetings for the past 16 years. And he really, really needs the session that I'm suggesting and recommending. I'm sure the P&Z commissioners would appreciate it. You all remember the two oil and gas ordinances at the last meeting instead of one? Well, guess who? I have an early morning business flight that I still have to get ready for, so I apologize, please, for speaking out of turn. But I want to just quickly say that I do support, I'm from a union family, but I do support Commissioner Block's proposed right-to-work ordinance, which is not anti-union, but rather freedom of choice in a free country. And lastly, please scrap the 4-1 defeated oil and gas ordinance and start fresh. And please allow a fracking expert to present to you regarding the risks associated with fracking through or near geologic faults and rifts. You really, really need to know what you are not being told. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Jody Lynn Ortiz and Elaine Cimino.
Could you sit down and give the stuff to the sheriff?
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mr. Chair. My name is Jody Lynn Ortiz. I'm with Consulting USA. I'm a community consultant and wrote a proposal letter that was sent out to the Department of Transportation and other agencies, along with all pipeline owners. I am here to discuss the resolution you all have copies of regarding the pipeline issues on safety and prevention. The safety and prevention issues, one is that there are 60-year-old pipelines that are single-walled in water-dwelling areas. Second is that findings show that pipelines over 40 years of age explode and leak. And third, there are antiquated policies that have no protection or are not enforced. Our water resources reflecting this issue are the Rio Grande River. There is a 2 water basin aquifer system. And 3, there are acequias, arroyos with pathways to the aquifers, all affecting our drinking water supply. There is a West Quarter, a private federal proposal to reroute intrastate pipelines from Colorado to Jemez. This proposal does not include updated Title 49 U.S. codes that need to be changed and enforced, but instead includes eminent domain to private lands and sovereign nations within the county boundaries. In this state, it is in the state of public comment and ends in February. Our solution is for the county to provide a regional stakeholder citizens advisory board, and am requesting that you commissioners will hear our presentation on the proposal from Consulting USA on the pipeline issue that is within this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Start that over. And so in looking at this resolution, you would think that it would be about oil or gas or pipelines, and it's about both. It's all about water as well. And the stakeholders that would be would be government to government, Pueblo and tribes, city, counties, townships, and villages. A citizen advisory board, our vision would be to create 2 committees paid for by the host and participating governments, a pipeline committee and an oil and gas, to look at and address infrastructure, public health and safety, and water impacts. The CAB would have the expert testimony. It would have tribal input in these citizen advisory boards to have the seismology, geology, hydrology, and baseline studies required. Please withdraw your support for the Mexico's tech study and put the money where it's going to help the citizens and not industry. We really need a good way forward in this issue. The outcomes, we need this CAB before it goes to the PZ. We're trying to make these recommendations going forward because we have these issues in front of us. Our reforms support prevention, repair, and replacement of these lines. We recommend Code 49 reforms and supporting infrastructure plans. We need to outline what the eminent domain policies are going to be to all these parties, and we don't want to see a piecemeal approach to doing a sector from Jemez to Colorado and then having this sector from Jemez to Moriarty or wherever it will be. So if you could please keep these in mind as we move forward, we would appreciate it. Please support our presentation to the board on this pipeline issue in a future meeting, and support this draft resolution for a citizen advisory board. We feel that you might need a moratorium or a study period or a delay for 2 years because of the tribal consultation process. It's going to take time to do that, and several counties have enacted these. They haven't been challenged. It's defendable, and it would protect the county and the citizens in the county. It would also need to honor the complete tribal consultation process, and we hope that you consider both. There we go. We practiced tonight to make sure we could get within our 3 minutes. Thank you.
Well, you did kind of infringe on the fact that this was for items not on the agenda, but thank you for your comment.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Next item, next person on the list here is Chris Vanden Heuvel.
Okay. Thank you.
You can always just leave.
Well, you know, I'll get over there and I'll fall. Thanks.
Did I pronounce your name right?
Very good, Vanden Heuvel. I was one of the 12,000 voters that voted to cut the property taxes in Rio Rancho, the hospital levy. And, you know, it bothers me that once we got the taxes cut, that the city, the governing body wants to come back and raise our taxes again. And to hear Mr. Reisberg present half the story is why I'm here tonight. The problem with the police cars, going back a few years, is they were buying 6 at a time. They'd get a grant, they might buy 8. So they had this fleet of cars that had all sorts of different mileages and years on them. And one of the previous governing bodies, they came up with the idea of, rather than facing this crisis to crisis to crisis approach to replacing the police cars, was that if you had a fleet of 80 cars, you buy 20 every year. And that way they all age the same rate and they all last the 4 years. And that was the plan that was put into motion. But then you have elections and you have a new governing body come in, and it wasn't because of a lack of funding or revenues falling. It was a decision by the governing body to start hiring more assistant city managers, assistants to the assistants, dividing departments up and creating new departments heads. And essentially they made that decision, rather than to buy police cars on their operating budget, to bloat the bureaucracy over there at City Hall, and then come back to the property owners, and now they want to buy 50 police cars. And I don't have a problem with supporting the police or the fire department, but using that type of funding, long-term bond funding, to buy disposable items, just because they wanted to bloat the bureaucracy with assistant city managers and department heads and assistants to the assistants and so on. And the other part, raising the taxes, may jeopardize the road bond, which I do support. And that's kind of all I had to say, because Mr. Reisberg didn't present that part of the picture.
Mr. Chairman, I have just a quick question for the gentleman. Sir, have you talked to your city councilor or gone to city council meetings to air out your grievances in
Yes.
regards to these issues?
Yeah, in fact, 2 years ago I ran for city council, but I guess my family thinks, fortunately, I wasn't elected. But yeah, and it was a conscious decision, and like I said, it wasn't a result of declining revenues, and the plan that the previous body had put into place was a good plan, because now you got rid of that hodgepodge of, this one has 70,000 miles, this one has 2.5 years, this one has 4 years, and so on. Anyway.
I just wanted to ask. Appreciate your answer.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Next, Brian Wheeler.